welcome to Detroit in Black and White, Wednesday edition. I ain't been here in a long time. I'm back. How you doing, Vanessa Moss?
Good evening. Good evening to all of the Detroit Black and White viewers. If you're watching this evening, we want you to hit that like button. We want you to join in the conversation. We want to see those comments. Hit that like, subscribe, and share. You can catch us on all social media platforms. Queen B, we had a little conversation about you after the show, Adolph and I. Thank you for checking in. She was Queen B, Eric, and Jim. Queen B, there was a conversation about the tiny house. Queen B was actually the person that lived in the tiny house that Allan was talking about. So just say that.
She's one of my favorites. Queen B. We don't always agree, but she's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
No question. How you doing, Eric?
I'm all right. How's everyone else doing?
Great.
Well, we're gonna give you a shot, man. You can't do your Eric thing tonight. We're gonna put you under tonight. Fentanyl or whatever. We're gonna put you to sleep like Michael Jackson. You're gonna wake up tomorrow and the show is gonna be over with. But anyway, Eric Brown, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay. Jim Nardone.
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
If Eric's not Eric, then I might as well go fishing or something.
Well, listen, I'm gonna go back to Eric.
Thank you, Queen B. I missed you too.
Listen, I want to say I have to give Harvard the credit. They told Donald Trump, "Fuck you, come at us."
Yeah.
You're an educational guy. You talk about literacy and all this. What do you think of Harvard saying, "Screw you, administration"?
Well, they are a private institution first and foremost with a $100 or $200 billion endowment, so they don't need the federal money. So it's easy for them to say it.
They need the federal money, but
not really. They have an endowment, Adolph. That, and if they use their matter of fact, they use their endowment, they wouldn't even have to charge tuition. So that's what endowments are for. So they don't. It'd be different if Michigan or Michigan State, Wayne State, a public institution, they would not be able to afford not getting $2 billion from the federal government. Harvard can afford that because of their endowment. Well, so they know what they're doing. They know they don't have to. They know they're not accountable to, the government.
Let me go to Vanessa. As the president met his match with Harvard.
I think so. And I think Howard is just the beginning. I think that they did the right thing. I think that they're doing the right thing. Listen, we can't say that we live in these United States of America, that we believe in democracy, and you have somebody that's sitting in the Oval Office that think that he can dictate to people how people should be educated, what they can or cannot say. We have constitutional rights. And if we don't stand up, if we don't have these institutions, these college institutions saying, "Hey, you can't do this. You're not going to do this to us," then there's going to be a bigger problem than what we have. So yes, I absolutely agree, and I think there are other institutions that are going to follow suit.
Jim, your take on this?
Well, here's the situation. They do have the money. Michigan State has the money. They all have the money.
Right.
I don't know what Michigan's endowment is, but I know that Michigan State's endowment is $400 or $500 million, right? You can't probably run a program with that, but I give Harvard credit for standing up and doing what they think is right. You have to give them credit. They're saying that we're going to teach. This is an institution and we're going to be independent, and I give them credit for that. Absolutely.
Ain't no question. And I'm real surprised that Columbia College, one of the oldest universities, I think Harvard is the oldest, and Columbia is right there with them, where they just surrendered. They didn't even blink an eye and say, whatever the president want us to do, we'll do it. But Harvard said, "Fuck you. We're going to stand tall." Somebody got to stand up and say, enough is enough. And Donald Trump is saying, I want to listen. He a power play. He doing what he's doing. Go ahead, Vanessa.
But you know what? This is something that Eric always talk about. He says, and I'm going to flip it. He talks about how we are responsible for where we find ourselves. And and I agree with him, because we are responsible in turning this thing around. And you can't just turn it around by just sitting on your hands and having a conversation. So again, I agree with Harvard and any other university that's going to do. I believe there's other universities that's going to do the same thing. And you know what? Once they do it, like who was just talking about U of M? U of M, I think that U of M, very weak position a few weeks ago, but watch all these other universities start following suit.
The only ones that can make an issue is private institutions. Public institutions cannot make an issue. They get more money from the federal government and the state government. Hillsdale College is a college right here in Michigan that does not receive any state or federal funding. They do not put any buildings on campus, do not build anything on campus until they raise the money to do so. Now, if Hillsdale College were to come into the fray and say it's not right, they have an argument because they're not taking any state or federal money.
But you know what, Eric? But nobody has, nobody has told Hillsdale's College, because they have said, you can't tell me what to do. And nobody has forced Hillsdale College to do shit. They've been doing their own thing.
Right.
Trump, the president, went to Harvard, went to Columbia, went to some of these private schools and said, listen, get rid of DEI. You can't have diversity. You can't have this. Harvard said, listen, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. Now, I think Harvard felt the sting from the last several years where the Supreme Court said, well, you can't have affirmative action, where they were sued by the Asian students. Now, Asian students got 20-30% of the student body, and they still crying that they don't have enough people. How the fuck you want to have 80%, 100%? And said, well, I didn't get in Harvard because some black student took my spot, or I didn't get in Harvard because some poor Appalachian student took my spot. You know what? Listen, Harvard said enough is enough. Y'all done took us to court. Y'all done said all this other little bullshit, and we're not going to take it anymore. And I'm glad that somebody has stood up and say enough is enough. So let's duke it out.
But the statement from Harvard also was that we are a private institution. We don't have to abide by the policies that you're trying to make public institutions.
But I understand. But everybody, they done scared the hell out of a whole lot of other private or public or whatever. Somebody got to stand up and say, enough is enough, Jim.
It's going to take a public institution, not a private institution. A public institution has to stand up. A private institution has the money, they have the wherewithal from their alumni. But a public institution,
but not everybody, Jim.
In the big picture, Harvard was here 100 years ago, and Harvard will be here 100 years from now, and Donald Trump will be just a footnote to history.
There's no question about it.
Michigan's endowment $17.9 billion right now,
and Michigan can fight them if they wanted to.
If they wanted to, right? But they don't want.
Yeah, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to. But Michigan, listen. So when you let a person like this administration, they plan their hand, and now they come up against somebody that says, well, we're not gonna just surrender to this shit. We're gonna fight. I think it's a good thing. I think we'll see how it plays out in the next year or two or whatever they're gonna play it. Vanessa.
I agree with everybody on the panel, which is unusual for me because I usually have a different spin on it. But as you guys have said, I think the public universities are going to have to join in. I think they are. People are sick and tired of this nonsense that this guy is spewing. And you know what? A bully can only go so far. You're only going to be able to do this for so long. After a while, people are going to start doing this windmilling, okay? And I think that's what we're seeing, okay?
Well, I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was a kid, I lived in a neighborhood where we used to have a bully, him and his brother, and he was a fat guy. He used to bully everybody. We about 5th or 6th grade, and we were scared of him. I had a cousin that came to visit, stayed the weekend. He was up my age, and we go out. Here's the bully. And he's bullying everybody. My cousin beat the hell out of him. I said, oh shit, I'm gonna have to deal with this when my cousin go back home because this bully, guess what? The next week, the bully said, yeah, man, you part of the team now, basically. Because the only way to beat a bully is to beat his ass and to hit him first. That's the only way. That's the only way to get back at a bully. You gotta fight. You gotta stand up.
Absolutely.
You cannot let them keep smacking you around. You gotta come. And I think Harvard said, you know what? You coming at me? Nope. I'm a smack right back at you. And I think that they really surprised the administration. Because they didn't expect that. Because they got the law firms surrendering.
Some of them, not all of them.
No, but most of them are saying, do what you need to do. And then they talking about, oh, we gonna send America. Listen, we all saw Papillon. Remember Papillon? Yes. Devil's Island?
Yes.
Well, Trump want to turn El Salvador into Devil's Island.
Right.
Yeah, that's the same. Well, send American citizens to El Salvador. That's what the French used to send their citizens to an island 2,000 miles away, and they didn't have to have them there in France. They sent them someplace else. So, man. This is deja vu all over again.
Hey, Vanessa?
Yes.
I like to talk about Terry. Adolph, if we could, we can talk about Terry's comment, but I want to say hello to all our guests, unless you want to go ahead and do that. Angela and Rita and Kenneth and Queen Bee always.
We have people who don't post. We have my favorite cousin, Sharita. Sharita loves her some Adolph.
Edward.
Hey, shout out, Sharita. We also have Bridget Huff. We have DeWayla Boyce, who usually, I know she's trying to get home to get on, but shout out to everybody that is watching Detroit Black and White. Cynthia Johnson, she was just in dance class with me. Hey, Cint. Terry McCrimmon says the president is out of control. He doesn't respect the Constitution or the Supreme Court. How can he possibly talk about sending American born citizens to a foreign country and have them imprisoned there?
Well, he already bribed El Salvador, which is and El Salvador say you can send whoever the fuck you want to send here, and we're not gonna send them back. He already cut a deal, and he just loved these folks. Go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to expand on that. I think everybody should take this in the right context. But we have a really serious issue in this country. We have some people, and I think Eric and I probably agree on some of these things. These people are sick. All right. Keith Olbermann, there is something wrong with Keith Olbermann. There is something wrong with Barbara McQuaid, who was a good attorney. There's something wrong with the guy that decided that because Josh Shapiro supports Israel, that he's going to burn down the governor's mansion. There is treatment for these people. And all joking aside, these folks need treatment. Keith Olbermann needs to be talking to somebody about his position because
Why you mad? And keep over, man.
I'm not mad at him.
I don't. You got to school us. I don't know what did Keith say or do.
It's about
he's a sports he's a sports reporter. Go ahead.
Well, it's all about the Bill Maher visit to. Who cares that somebody's talking to them? This is not China. We don't send people, put them on a train, and send them away and break bricks for the next 30 years because they disagreed with us. What is wrong with these folks? They need treatment. I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of people walking around, and it's not one side; it's both sides, right? I don't care if it's about Biden or Trump or whoever it is, but I think some of these folks need to sit down and talk to somebody because they're in a bad way.
You know what? Earlier this morning, I saw where the former president Barack Obama was speaking. It was about a 10-minute clip, and he said the very thing that you said. But in addition to him saying the same thing that you're saying, Jim, guess who else said the same thing? Former President George Bush, the son. The exact same thing. And so when we're talking about when Adolph opened up talking about Harvard, these are the very things that they're talking about. We are in a very dangerous territory. And for people to say, oh, it's just him, it's going to change in the next 4 years. No, people have to push back now. And again, as the story that Adolph just talked about people are only going to take bullying so long. People are not going to take it along.
Go ahead.
One of the things that keep bothering me is I'm going to keep saying is I'm reading the book Fight. I'm going to read the book Uncharted. And a lot of us in the book Fight is a lot of what I've been talking about since April of 2023. At the end of the day, when Joe Biden announced his candidacy for re-election, there should have been all hell to break loose in this country. It did not take that debate. If people had been paying attention, it did not take that debate on June 27th of 2024 to realize he did not have the faculties to continue on as president. And I just, it bothers me so much because, hold up, Vanessa, look at how George Clooney, when George Clooney said that this guy's not the same. Look at how they dogged the Wall Street Journal when the Wall Street Journal wrote about exactly what's in his book. Everybody wants to say, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
But Eric, we all know that Joe Biden has some issues. Donald Trump is an idiot. We all know that too. Go ahead.
Hey, you know what? Listen, you can
don't matter. Listen, go ahead, Vanessa.
You can say whatever you want to say about Joe Biden. It didn't start with Joe Biden. It did not start with it did not. So if you want to lay the blame on him, that's what you want to do, fine. But it did not start with him. There are people in this country who feel like a dictatorship is okay, who feel like putting a muzzle on the United States Constitution is okay. There are people who feel like people who look like you, Eric, and look like me, that we don't deserve not only to be here, but to deserve to exercise the freedoms that we have as Americans. It didn't just start with that election with Joe Biden.
I'm not blaming Joe Biden. It's funny.
But Joe Biden, listen, they put Joe Biden out. They put Joe Biden out. And
blaming the people. I'm blaming the American electorate, black, white, green, purple, Democrat, Republican.
And I'm blaming 75 million people that voted for Donald Trump. So you know what? We blaming each other.
They voted for Donald Trump. Look at the options.
But we can disagree and not agree on who do what. But the bottom line is that, you know what? When you start wanting to dismantle educational institutions and stuff like that, then I got a problem with that. Yeah. I have a problem when you say that anybody that's of color ain't qualified to do shit, and I look at who he unappointed to some of these positions that ain't qualified to do shit.
And truth be told, listen, and Jim, I'm sure you don't understand this, but in our community, we're taught that we have to go above and beyond and be better than in order to even get to break in into some certain entities, to break into even some professions. So that is a bunch of crap. And to think that you have people that are sitting in these positions, and I'm a dog out Tim Scott. For you to sit there, Tim Scott, and say that this kind of stuff is okay, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, you don't even have to go to Tim Scott.
Yourself.
You don't have to go to Tim Scott. You go to John James,
the
and
road.
you look at John James, and where he got the Secretary of Defense say anybody of a color is not qualified to lead the Joint Chief of Staff. And John James went to West Point, these places where he done got rid of all the folks. We don't want diversity. Everybody's a DEI. Everybody this. We don't need this. And John James has not said not one fucking word. Nothing. Zero.
I agree with you about John James, but you know what? I'm going to tell you guys a story about myself. When I decided that I was going to go to law school, and I was an older student, in other words, I had already completed undergrad, was already in a profession, and I applied for law school. And there was a program at University of Detroit Mercy School of Law, and it was a program for minorities, okay? For minorities. It was the largest class that they had ever had of minorities. It was like 45, 50 of us. And guess what? I tell people every single day, guess what? I don't care if you graduated from Harvard Law School, U of M Law School, Yale Law School. Guess what? You put me in a courtroom, I'm going to do my job just like anybody else. But guess what? Because of that program, supposedly, that is where it placed me in a position to be able to fight for people. So listen, y'all can miss me on all of that nonsense, Tim Scott, Jim James, or John James, or whatever the heck his name is. It is ridiculous for people to feel that this kind of stuff is okay.
Yeah, well, no question.
It's offensive.
Yeah, it is offensive. And we deal with it. So yes, so I'm glad to see that Harvard is fighting back, and we're going to do what we need to do. Let's move on to the most important thing that's happening here in the city of Detroit. We about to have people turning in their signatures. For mayor. It's just been so quiet. I'll go to you, Eric. Are we going to see any fireworks or something, or is this going? It's going to be
probably by Memorial Day. There will be Chantel Jenkins turned in her signature today. I understand. There's
the other day.
What'd you say?
Todd Perkins said he was turning his in. I saw him in court the other day. He said he was turning his in the next day, so it was one day last week.
So
he's in a murder trial, so he is coming on the show.
I'm not talking about whether they come on the show. I'm just talking about that. I'm just looking at the race. I guess I want to start some shit. I want people to duke it out. And I'm not seeing that. Have you seen any fireworks there?
No, there has not been any fireworks, and there probably not any fireworks until maybe next Wednesday, once all the signatures are in for the mayor's race as well as the city council race.
Do you really think so?
There's not going to be any fireworks. Go ahead. This is the problem. This is the issue, right? Mary Sheffield went to Washington and she got these high-priced people. It almost reminds me, as of right now, of Joe Biden 2.0. Let's just slide her in. She wins. She's one of the two, and we're going to push her. We're going to bring the money in.
I told somebody just the other day, do not sleep on Hollywood.
You and I were talking about that.
Listen, I said don't sleep on former police chief Craig, and I guess they looked at me or they said, "What is the fuck he talking about?" It's like, man. And then what I just saw about Adam Holier.
Yeah.
He out of his
They asked
fucking
can he beat?
he out of his fucking
Can he
mind. I
beat
think they
Sri
played
and
him.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
He
Let me get in here. Why is he out of his mind? If you don't first succeed, try and try again.
He's a loser. He's
what's
a
the
loser.
Okay,
He's a loser.
I'm not going to call that young
Sweetie, he's a loser.
I'm
And
not
you
going
know
to call
what?
that young man a
Well,
loser.
that's
I
on you.
agree.
Who should it be?
I agree. Right off.
He's right.
Who should
He's
it
a
be?
loser.
Who should
First,
it be?
first,
Definitely should not be Shree.
you
It
know,
definitely should not be
You know what?
Shree.
But
You
It
know what's
definitely
on-
time for
should not be him.
okay,
You know who's on fire tonight?
Wait a minute, Vanessa, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't be Shree, but Adam, he couldn't even get signatures. He tried and died twice. He dead. The brother is dead. It's like they say in Goodfellas. We couldn't save him. We couldn't save him. He's
But who should
gone.
it be?
He's gone. He's gone. We couldn't save him. Robert De Niro say, "What happened? What happened to Tommy? He's gone. You couldn't save him. We can't save him. We can't save him.
and he's not a made man, right?
We cannot. I'm sorry. We cannot continue.
We couldn't even have a funeral for him. They messed his face up. You know what?
I do not want Sri Thanadar representing us.
But he won't be Sri because
There's gonna be some other people to enter the race. There's gonna be some other people.
So that's why I said, who could it be?
Well, it's too early. I mean, it's not for 2026. It's not to 2026, but it's going to be some other people enter the race. And I agree with Adolph. Adam is a loser. Adam is a loser.
But you
It
know
has to
what?
be someone else into that race.
I'm not going to call
But you know what? We had people. They had Sri, and you know what? We have too many people running against these folks and stuff.
Nobody wanted to drop
Rashida. We had Rashida.
And that's another one. That's another one.
And
that's another one.
Hey,
but the people won't run. Go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to say, you know who's on fire tonight? Terry McCrimmon is on fire tonight. And hi to True Sensation and Score 13. And Ira Todd's out watching tonight, too. Thank you for watching. No, I was just going to say.
True Nation as well.
True Sensation, yeah. True
Sensation.
Yeah.
Back, Adolph.
Don't start.
Can we go back? There were two comments about Joe Biden. I can address both of them since they were directed at me. And what I'm saying about Joe Biden is this. He should not have ran for re-election. The Democratic Party should have.
We know that, Eric. And listen,
but I'm just saying, the Democratic Party.
You're right, Eric. You're absolutely right. We moving on from Joe Biden. You're absolutely right. You're right. He shouldn't have ran. They kicked his ass out. And we moving forward. You are absolutely right. Let's talk about the mayor's race and see who shouldn't be running and who need to be running. That's all I'm saying is.
Well, all of them.
Go ahead.
I mean, who shouldn't be running? That's hard to say. I mean, all of it. Well, the one guy they're talking about annexing Macomb County to Detroit and all that. I mean, that's a ridiculous idea. I mean, come on, really?
So here
that ain't gonna happen.
But if Michigan was one of those states like Texas, that would be a real good issue because Houston used to be a little small city until they started annexing everything.
Right.
Right. It's all Harris County.
Made it easy. In Michigan, you can't. It's hard to annex your neighbor. You know, it's been done, and they undone it. They annexed the townships and stuff, but cities like Trenton and Melvindale and stuff, you just can't go there and say, okay, I'm gonna take Melvindale. Now I'm Detroit. I'm gonna take Trenton. You know, I'm gonna take Ecorse or River Rouge. You can't even take Highland Park, and Highland Park and Hamtramck is inside the Detroit city limit, and then shit, they'll fight you to the death, and the law is on their side. They ain't gonna be able to do it. Shit.
So like Grosse Points. 5 Grosse Points don't want to separate from each other. I mean, it's crazy.
So, Adolph, I'm going to ask you because you started off the question. You said who should not be running in the mayor's race? In your opinion, who should not be running?
I think at this point, it's a 3 or 4 person race. I see the two women. I see the two women. I see Mary. I see Santil. I see Kenlock. At this point, that's 3.
So here's the assumption, though, Adolph.
And the chief.
And the chief. Okay.
I mean, I throw this question out here to the 3 of you and all our colleagues out there. Why is there an assumption that it's Mary Sheffield and somebody else?
No, it's not. It's not. But you know what? This is the way we playing the game. No, this is why we got you, Jim. This is why we got Eric. This is why we got Vanessa. This is why we got Adolph. This is why we got Ira Todd and Queen B and all the other folks.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the deal. It depends on whose company I'm in. 2 days ago, I was talking on telephone with some friends, and they live in the North End. Guess what? Todd Perkins all day, right?
Yeah.
Week before last, I go to Triumph Church. Kenlock all day. I've talked to some women who said, "Hey, we want a woman in office." Guess who they said?
Santil Jenkins.
They said Santil Jenkins.
Yeah.
So it depends on
go to the senior buildings, and they said Chief Craig.
So I'm telling you, this is going to be very interesting. And whoever the top 2 vote getters are, whoever we have as the top 2 vote getters, listen, it's going to be by a very slim margin because we don't have a lot of people to vote in the city of Detroit.
Well, you know what? Go ahead.
The one thing people need to do is go look at the last 7 elections. Look at the voter turnout. People keep talking about first-time voters. People keep talking about black males. People keep talking about the young vote. They don't vote. That's what they betting on Mary Sheffield. So her team is going to have to really do a great job to resonate with them to understand that they need to vote in the primary as well as in the general election. If they don't do that, she's not going to win. Black men don't vote. Young people don't vote. If you bet on first-time voters, August 5th could be a nice day outside.
Haven't we been down this road before where we had Kwame, young, bright, smart. Now we got a young, bright, smart, young lady and stuff. We know how that turned out. We're going that same road. We're going down the same road.
Right.
If people are they going to vote for her? Is Mary Sheffield, is she ready for prime time?
Well,
is she ready for prime time? She never run citywide. But listen, people said, "Oh, I remember when Joanne Watson ran against Gil Hill, and all these pundits said Gil Hill by 50 points. Gil Hill. Guess what? We kicked Gil Hill ass. Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you.
No, she is not, and she doesn't seem smart. I will say this: 2 weeks ago, I was walking out of 36th District Court. One of my clients, real cool brother, has a business. Eric, you was at his business the night of the election. You know who I'm talking about, okay? I said, "Who you got?" He said, "Listen, my people told me to go with Sheffield." And he has a nice group of people. So I'm telling you, it depends on
where you at and who you talking to.
It depends. Everybody got their little pockets. This is gonna be, listen, I can't wait for them to turn in that everybody have their stuff.
Civil War.
I can't wait.
I'd be interested.
I want to see the fireworks.
I'd be interested in that.
One thing, we got good candidates.
Absolutely.
Listen, I can live with Mary Sheffield. I can live with Santil Jenkins. I can live with Todd Perkins.
Ken
I
Lock.
can live with the chief.
You can live with Ken Lock. You can live
Yes,
with any
I
of them.
can live with them.
Now, the only ones I can't live with is you can live with Durhal.
Yes.
You can even live with Barlow. Now, these other people, it's some other people that's in the race. I don't even know their names. I'm not, I don't even know their names. And that's the other thing. Name recognition. Queen B talked about Mary looking nice. Listen, looks get you a lot of places. Trust me. And Queen B, you know that.
And money. And money. Forgetting about the money.
So Vanessa, I would be interested. I'll be interested, Vanessa.
And name recognition.
I'll be interested, Vanessa. The guy, the night, that group of people. You said he's rolling with Mary. Your birthday party and the group of people you have their birthday party with. I would love to know what the vibe would be amongst that group, because those are similar groups, different sides of the city.
So remember, I just said there was somebody I was talking to the other night. It's a group of them that was at the party. They're going with Perkins because they from the North End. Okay,
that's North End. You're right. That's right.
Right. So they from the North End. So it's very, because I move in all these circles. So it's going to be very interesting. And Adolph, you talk about the fireworks. We're going to have the fireworks.
Well, ain't gonna be no fireworks.
Competitive. It's so competitive. Yes,
I hope it's some fireworks.
You don't get them.
There ain't gonna be no fireworks.
Well, Errol Altman just asked a question about a debate, and the proposal I presented to both you. I didn't include you, Jim, but the proposal I presented to Adolph as well as Vanessa about the Detroit Black and White hosting a candidates forum for both the mayoral candidates as well as city council candidates that will also include the youth. Give the youth a portion of that to ask a lot of the questions. And it would be live broadcast from WC3, and it would be a collaboration with 100 Black men, Detroit and Black and White, as well as the 2 youth groups.
Yeah, well, listen, who would the big 3 endorse? Fuck the big 3. They don't vote. Listen, they can give some fucking money. It don't matter. It don't matter. Listen,
it don't matter with them. It's all about the money.
I learned a long time ago when motherfuckers hated Coleman Young, he didn't give a fuck about them. You know what? The bottom line is what the big 3. Fuck Dan Gilbert and all those motherfuckers.
I said a debate would be great. Detroit Black and White, we're going to do it. We're hoping that our Detroit Black and White viewers come and support Detroit Black and White and actually listen to what these candidates have to say.
Who are the voters supporting? Before we forget, Deborah and Sam are out there. Thanks for tuning in. You had important things to do tonight, and you came and tuned in. Thank you for that. A early story. Thank you. Queen B said something.
Felicia Dean, thanks.
Felicia, yes, I miss Felicia. But Queen B said something that was really important. Who's relatable? And I agree with her. She said Santil Jenkins is relatable, and I couldn't agree more with that.
Well, there's no question. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, we got some candidates. I just want to see them mix it up and shit. It's like let's
Adolph style,
ready to rumble.
Right.
Adolph style.
Ready to rumble.
Right.
One thing about Santil that people can now overlook, she has a relatable story. Breast cancer. She's a native Detroiter. She's worked for a very prominent nonprofit that has helped people all over the state. People can relate to that.
In the city of Detroit.
Yeah, she's right. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Well, you know what? And listen, we'll see how it goes. I tell you, oh man,
Now, Adolph, one thing I do think, I don't know if me and you talked about this. I know me and Vanessa talked about it.
Queen B
I do think, in my opinion, that rap video did not help Mary Sheffield. I thought that was a very poorly done video.
Queen B said, I have seen Santil in the community. When I see Mary in the community, it's at the bar or an event she is throwing or a photo.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with being in the bar. Shit. Listen, how you think Davy Crockett got elected to Congress, hanging out at all the pubs and shit? That's the way they used to That's the way people used to campaign. So listen, Mary Sheffield, I'm gonna have to give her credit. She know how to campaign, and she have been out there. Plus, she got the X factor. That's her daddy. Yeah, that's the big man. He know how to campaign.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Well, who has a similar story to Santil Jenkins, and somebody that couldn't get the traction when she ran for Congress, is Portia Roberson. She has a compelling story.
She does, but she's not a good campaigner.
But you gotta want to run.
Yeah, gotta want it.
You gotta want it. Listen, Portia is a smart young lady. I like her. She know what's happening. I love her daddy. You know, Judge Roberson he was a hell of a guy.
Yeah, we all know him.
He was straight and no chaser. He did not play. You know, had no question. You gotta want to take it. You gotta get out there and go get it. When you say I'm gonna get it, you gotta go get it. You know, you can't. Sometimes they say, well, some shit is handed to you. Some people are born with a silver spoon, and some people just take the shit. Sometimes,
and that's interesting, Adolph, because I think both Freeman Hendricks and Lord bless his soul, Benny Napoleon, they didn't want it enough.
Yeah, they didn't want it enough. And Freeman Hendricks, they was appointing people to positions, and they ain't even won the election. You know, shit. So yeah, that's why we beat his ass.
Lost sight of the prize.
We kicked Freeman Hendricks' ass, but Freeman, he ain't worried about nothing. He got paid.
I'm like, doing all right. Yeah, he's doing all right.
Well. So, and he's a nice guy. I think he was a nice guy.
Yeah, why does everything got to be about money?
He ain't a nice guy. He play hardball. He ain't a nice guy. He'll stab you in the front, back, cut your throat, and do all what he want to do because he know how to play politics. That's the way to get in.
True Sensation said, please do a debate. Adolph can ignite the fireworks by asking the difficult questions. I personally want to hear a solid plan that is workable for the city. Well, Eric's proposal, I'm sure we're going to do it. So hopefully True Sensation and the rest of you guys will come out and support Detroit in black and white, but more importantly, hear what these people have to say.
I'm always on True Sensation's team. She's one of the best.
Oh, you know, y'all know more than I have. I've been away for a long time. I don't know these people.
Oh, you know True Sensation. She's just not going to tell you who she is. She doesn't trust you that much.
Duela said it's a cult. I don't know who she's talking about, but she said it's a cult.
Well, we always a cult. But anyway, okay, as we move on, I want to throw this question out. Has Governor Big Gretch showed her true colors? The bitch is a Republican, been a Republican all her motherfucking life. You know, her daddy was big time. Her dick was a big time Republican, and she grew up as a Republican. Now she coming back home.
The lady a B-I-T-C-H. Did I hear you call the lady a B-I-T-C-H?
Did I call her that?
Maybe, Adolph, maybe you and Barbara McQuaid and Keith Olbermann can maybe meet with the same person. They're up in that office up there in one of those buildings and get some.
She is a fucking Republican. Like, she might as well just come out and say what she is.
Listen, here's the thing, though. This
Fix
is
the damn roads.
Listen. This is what gets me is you have people who leave the Democratic Party and go to the Republican Party because they think that this will be their venue to get to where they want to go, and you have vice versa. So for me, I mean, what?
This is not nothing new.
I'm out, Vanessa.
What difference does it make? Wait a minute. You're saying that she's a Republican. I say she is like everybody else.
No,
she's a politician.
No, but she Republican.
It's a little bit different.
Listen, no question.
Vanessa's right on.
Do you remember Don Regal? Remember Don Regal?
That's what they do.
Listen,
yes.
Don Regal.
Remember Don Regal.
I'll give Don Regal credit because Don Regal said, "You know what? I'm a Republican, but I can't agree with these assholes. So he became a Democrat and got elected to the Senate. You gotta just feel. You gotta embrace what you are. No, I ain't mad at her.
But see, it's different.
She embracing Trump. Embrace him. Embrace him. He's the president. I understand. And she trying to put herself in a position for 2028. And she want to be Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders ain't never been a Democrat, but he played. He pretended to be with the party, and he doing his thing. Listen, the Democrats. Listen, no, they know how to pimp. Listen, just like everybody pimped Chrysler. Chrysler been a whore for everybody, from Mercedes, Daimler, all this shit.
Fiat.
Everybody pimp Chrysler, and this is what they doing. They pimping the Democratic Party. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Bernie Sanders, all of them. Robert Kennedy, they all pimped the Democratic Party. And when they get what they want, they leave.
Vanessa, you talked about people leaving, switching parties. Some of these people never were in the other party. They just were conveniently in the party where they know they could pimp people. Look at Ray Nagin. Ray Nagin down in New Orleans. Mike Duggan here in Detroit.
United States. What about the president of the United States?
No, I'm good. He's on my list. So a lot of them have taken advantage as being opportunists. It's different from people that leave one party, go to another. These people have been strictly opportunists. They have been strictly opportunists.
They do.
Ain't nothing wrong. Listen,
that's what they
politics.
Clearly, there's nothing wrong with it, because guess what? They get elected.
Right. Politics.
We live in the United States of America, the land of opportunity. Guess what? The land of opportunists. So
listen, politicians is politicians, and that's what they got. Mike Blumenthal, he was an independent, Republican, Democrat. He was everything. He a little bit of everything. Ain't nothing wrong with
Bloomberg?
That. Yeah, Blumenthal, Bloomberg, yeah.
Blumen something.
They're all the same.
Onion.
The same shit. The same bullshit.
It says, Adolph, you're absolutely right about Chrysler. Queen B says supposedly Rashida won't be running unopposed the next election.
Who's gonna run against her? Tell me. But she's a congresswoman without any power now. She got nothing.
Nobody held her accountable. She says she's a Democrat, but she sat out and said, "Hey, I can't support the Democrat ticket." Listen, that's your choice. But these same people expect for her to go and represent them in the DC. Are you kidding me, lady? Get out of here. Nobody held her accountable at all.
No, this for you, Adolph, from Deborah Harris. Look what Deborah Harris said.
We go to these little political events, and Adolph, you and I both know. And guess what? They stand up and clap for these people and treat them like they some kind of god, as opposed to employees for us. Get the heck out of here with that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I went to a meeting over in Corktown. The business association. Shree was there. They couldn't stand me because I asked them. I said, "Why are you hanging out with the dictator in India who's killing Muslims?"
Right.
And shit. Guess what he said? I came here with $2 in my pocket. $2. I came
with
$2. He would never answer the question. I came with $2. $2 I had. Yes, I said, I'm not asking you why you came here. I'm asking you, why are you hanging out with this dictator who is killing Muslims? He burned down a mosque and built a Hindu temple there in India.
And that's what, Adolph, when you ask that question, you have people there, oh, you shouldn't ask that question.
Oh, they was mad at me. But guess what? Bob Roberts let me talk because Bob is the president. Bob said, go ahead and let him speak. Our host at Detroit in Black and White on Saturdays at McShane's. Yes. Yeah, they was mad at me.
But, how are you gonna come in the community? You represent the community.
I live over there.
Ask you the hard questions. What kind of nonsense is that? You work for me, bro. You work for me.
But I came here with $2.
And he got a beer on the flight, right? Doesn't he tell the story? He had a beer and he was broke after he bought his beer.
Right. Yes.
The Clark bar and a beer.
The whole point. Listen, this is what we deal with the bullshit. Same way with Brenda Lawrence. She went and just gave the seat away. I think she cut a deal with Rashida where they were switching seats because John Conyers switched seats with Hanson Clark and all kind of shit. You know what? These people play all these little fucking games and shit.
I think she got a watch.
They set it up clapping like seals.
I think she got a watch. A watch.
What? Get out of here.
That's Southfield. I heard there's a lot going on up there in Southfield. If you can,
what happened in Southfield?
You can get anything done with
Sylvia is running for mayor. Did you know that, Adolph?
Sylvia who?
Southfield. You know Sylvia. Used to sit on city council in Southfield. Sylvia Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Sylvia Jordan.
She's running for
I like Sylvia.
Announcement tonight. I think she's making it tonight.
I like Sylvia.
I like Sylvia a whole lot.
Yes, I like Sylvia.
So
well, her husband is a minister, right?
That's gonna be real interesting.
Yeah, and no question. You know, well, but you know what? Southfield, you can drive down Southfield Road in all the empty buildings.
But it's a city management form of government. So I mean, the mayor's just a figurehead.
And there's a lot of empty buildings.
Listen, well, I think there, it used to be Southfield. We used to love Southfield. Southfield ain't what it is. It's just the west side of Detroit now.
Detroit North. Detroit North.
It used to be the upper crust, right? Southfield.
Yeah, it ain't shit now.
It's just Detroit North.
Something to do with the radio station up there, and some guy was raising hell on the radio in the morning.
Who that racist motherfucker that's out there?
No, I was talking about you. You made a lot of noise up there in Southfield.
You know what I'm talking about. Listen. But anyway, I tell you, we're going to have the next couple months, it's going to be, hopefully, we're going to have a mayor's race, whatever race, the governor. They already have started early.
Cox is running. Mike Cox made
Mike Cox.
He's running for governor.
Mike Cox.
He's running for governor.
Who running for attorney general?
He was a decent attorney general.
He's running for AG. And
you know how he got elected. He needed to thank Jeff Pfizer for getting him elected.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, there ain't no question about it.
Yeah, it was that long ago.
But you know what? I like his brother, not Sean, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin is cool.
And Kevin's son, Kiefer Cox. So forget the other Cox.
2 days
forget
ago.
the other Cox. They hardcore or whatever. But I like Kevin say he's the only Democrat in the family.
Something about the federal court changes you.
But anyway,
people.
Jim, you know,
Mike Cox should be in jail after Kwame's situation.
They didn't have no party. That was, you know, the party was when Killer had all the parties.
Timo said lies.
Where's Timo been? Where's he been for the last 3 months? I'm glad you're back.
Oh,
Timo.
Oh, you know,
I guess he had more important things to do than tune in, but we appreciate him being here tonight.
Tim has the laughing emojis. He said, "Forgot the other Cox." No, you didn't.
Wow.
Well,
I told you he was on fire tonight. Terry's on fire.
Well, anyway, Jim, I'm gonna go to you. Your final thought.
I'm just gonna briefly touch on this. RFK Jr. is doing interviews where he's saying autism is environmental, and that's bullshit. And what you're doing to people that, you're basically telling folks that they have an autistic child and it's their fault. And I have a real problem with that. I think he's an idiot and somebody needs to take care of him. You can't.
We're gonna get rid of this motherfucker. He's an ex-heroin addict who OD'd on a Delta flight. God damn. And here he is. He's running a fucking man, this is unbelievable. Listen, you know where we saw that movie, Back to the Future, where the professor said, "Who's the president?" He said, "Ronald Reagan." He said, now, 20 years from now, they're going to say, "Who was the president? Donald Trump? The guy from Apprentice?" And shit. Oh, man.
That's just hurtful.
I agree.
It's just wrong. I don't have any kids, but it's just wrong.
Eric.
My final thought is, Vanessa says this all the time. It starts at home. And I'm just going to be honest. I have a problem with the Democrats going over to El Salvador, trying to bring somebody home, particularly the Black Democrats that were politicians in 1989 when the Central Park 5 situation took place. And they did nothing to help those kids that were falsely accused right here at home.
Okay, well, I don't have no problem with them going over there. Is that's a strong man in El Salvador say, "Fuck y'all." I'm in control of shit. So
that's what makes it worse that they're going over there, because he don't give a fuck.
I'm the decider. I'm the decider.
Right. Go ahead.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Vanessa. You go ahead.
Listen, I want my final thoughts for this evening is, one, thank you, Detroit Black and White viewers. Thank you, Detroit Black and White commenters. Thank you so much, because you know what? You keep us going every Wednesday, every Friday, and every Saturday. So I want to tell you thank you. I'm also going to ask that you join us again Friday evening. Join in the comments and join us again Saturday. Have a wonderful evening.
Well, and my final thought is fuck the world. You know what? We got to fight. You know what? I love you, Harvard University. Listen, in my alma mater, Michigan, you pussy footing, y'all ain't shit. Y'all surrender to these motherfuckers. You got to fight these folks and shit. Listen, we always got that. Ain't nothing wrong with being different and shit. And we got folks that say, you can't do this, you can't do that. Listen, we're going to do what we're going to do. Where they go to the Naval Academy in West Point and get rid of 400 books. It's like burning books and shit. These folks are out of their fucking minds. You know what? So all I'm saying is the fight continues. The mayor's race continues. We'll see who's going to take the lead. And next week, we'll see who's winning. Are we winning, as the commercial say? Yeah, we are winning. What's the guy say? Yeah, Jim, we're winning. We'll be back on Friday. I'll be here Friday. This is Detroit in Black and White. I want to thank everybody. Thank Eric. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Vanessa. Teresa, she's in the background. I'm scared of Teresa.
Lady C, that's how
thanks to all the people that contribute to this show. We'll be back on Friday.